to the Trending Now podcast for a Friday, April the 21st, 2023. It's your host, Louis Butko, here with you, recapping the week that was on Trending Now, which you can catch every Monday to Friday at 7 o'clock and 11:30 on CHCH and online at chch.com, and making her glorious return to the podcast. I don't want to waste any time because it has been months. It has been years since she has been on the podcast. She's fresh from her trip. Well, that was a while ago now, but she's feeling better and she's back, and a full week's worth of shows in the books. Laura Seven's here with us.
Hello.
The studio audience is going nuts here for Laura Seven's glorious return. How are you?
I'm good. I'm feeling better.
Yeah.
Still have a lingering cough, but those things linger for months on end. So
you had a great story because you were away. You were in Punta Cana. You got super burned on the first day.
I did, yeah.
And then you got a sunburn like a week later again. How is that even possible?
Because I have very fair skin and I tend to forget sunscreen a lot. So I got super sunburned because my skin was not prepared for the UV12 down in the Dominican. Mm-hmm. And then I went to a Blue Jays game. It was about 2 weeks later. No, it was a week later. But I went to a Blue Jays game and I didn't put any sunscreen on, and the roof was open, and I got pretty crispy that day too.
I'm at the point where I'm already having to change like my watch on each wrist to avoid the tan.
Oh yeah,
like, it's already pretty
always
bad.
The worst.
But like I got a nice base tan. Now it's just like working on that. I'm really bad at sunscreen though. Like, and I know I need to be better. And I'm sure at some point it'll come up on this show or on Trending Now. But sun health.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone here will tell me that I need to be smarter.
Yeah, my
I'm surprised
mom tries.
Chantel's not in my ear as the mom of this group here telling me that I need to wear sunscreen.
Yeah, my mom always says, every time you get a sunburn, it increases your chances of skin cancer. And I feel like I'm at sunburn like 50. So, I mean, if I haven't got it yet, I don't think I will. But I'm not going to wear sunscreen.
I guess, there we go.
I mean, like,
my thing is like, I need to be better at it too. I just hate the texture. I hate the feel, which is weird because I moisturize pretty frequently.
It's different. It's very different.
This is obviously what the show is all about. Talking about our skin issues here. Wanted to get you on right away because the big story on Monday.
In a world where first impressions aren't everything, where strangers can fall in love.
Will you marry me?
Yes! Through a wall.
Welcome to Love is Blind.
I'm ready for it.
Now they're all about to discover if love is truly blind.
And I'm surprised it wasn't the biggest story at 6 o'clock, to be honest, on the CHCH Evening News, was the technical difficulties that came with the Love is Blind live reunion show. So the finale aired on Friday?
Yeah.
Do I have that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the finale aired on Friday. Mm-hmm. You had 2 days to soak it all in and to freak out and to hit the message boards or whatever people do on the internet now. And then there was supposed to be a live reunion show on Sunday. What happened?
Well, I don't think Netflix has figured out the live formula yet, or at least figured out the live formula when a lot of people want to watch.
Yeah.
Because they had done one live event prior, and that was the Chris Rock comedy special, which went off without a hitch. But Love is Blind is much more popular than Chris Rock.
Apparently.
So you had people globally being like, we need to tune in for this. And really, nobody asked for it to be live. They just said they were going to do it. And we were like, okay, well, we'll be there. And my friend and I took an earlier train home from the Jays game.
Well, that's good. The Jays game on Sunday was awful, so you had a reason to leave early.
We didn't leave the game early. We left our dinner reservation early. We were like, we gotta go. Love is Blind is on at 8. And then I just sat in front of my TV for 2 hours waiting for it to buffer. And then when it finally did, it just kept kicking me out.
Okay, so what did you do in that 2 hours while it was buffering?
I yelled at my TV a lot, which I'm not proud of because Netflix can't hear me. And then just complained in our Love is Blind group chat with some of our other coworkers that we have. And we complained a lot about it. And then we're like, what's going on? Why isn't it working?
Oh, Netflix waited a full hour.
Hour and a half, actually.
Sorry, an hour and a half. They finally took to Twitter to say the Love is Blind reunion did not turn out as we planned. Like, no shit. No shoot, whatever there. I was told I could swear on this show, by the way. I got permission from the boss.
Okay.
He says it's your show. You can swear. I didn't.
Until
But
right
I
now.
have. No, I didn't finish that word. I said, oh, shit. And then I didn't finish it. So
Okay.
I self-censored myself.
Okay, sure.
But I have permission from the boss that I could swear if I wanted to in podcast form.
I didn't say anything.
I'm poop.
Well, anyways, it was not great.
So it was not great. The show in general, I still don't understand. So what do they do in these rooms? Like they're literally in these rooms with a wall between them.
Correct.
Like they don't see anybody?
They see, because, Netflix isn't progressive enough to make this queer in any way.
Yeah.
So it's just guys and girls. So
Yeah.
the girls stay with the girls and the guys stay with the guys.
Okay.
So the guys get to see each other and chat about the people that they're talking to, and the girls get to see each other and chat about the
Okay,
people that they're talking to.
that little explanation helps a lot.
Yeah.
Because there is one show actually on Netflix that my buddy's wife is obsessed with, where they all live in rooms and they all try to trick each other into thinking that there's The Circle?
The Circle, yeah. So that one they can't see each other
So
at all.
they're just in a room by themselves, like
Yeah.
isolate, like that's not a thing. Like that's not a thing. Like people don't just isolate like that. Like not since
No.
COVID times.
No, but that's like the premise of the show, is that you are an online persona and you're either fronting as yourself or you're fronting as someone else. And so the idea is that you're trying to like win the game without anybody ever seeing you.
Scale of 1 to 10, how embarrassed are you that you watch these shows?
That I watch Love is Blind specifically.
Yeah. Is it
know
something not that you need to. Listen,
No,
everybody's
I would
got their
say
vices.
like a zero, because so many people watch it. Like I'm really not the only one.
She's got no shame in her TV choices.
I'm not the only one. There's, like I said, we have a group chat. There's a
Adam Atkinson is a super fan. Is what I've been
Adam's
told.
in our group chat. We
Emily
got
Taylor is a super fan. The
Oh,
Morning
is
Live.
she?
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have to add her to our group chat then.
Yeah, wow.
Laura Brody, Carly Conway. I'm just gonna list everybody. Kelly's in the group.
Yeah.
Nicole's in
Kelly's
the group.
in the group?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I was
Justin,
asking
our
Kelly
editor's
about-
in the group.
Yeah,
He
Justin.
watches Love is Blind with his wife.
So Justin cut some of these packs for us,
Mm-hmm.
and was it a couple weeks ago? He said I can't cut it because
Because
there's
he hadn't
spoiler
watched
alerts.
yet. Yeah, it's true.
So that's
Which makes it more difficult because he knows or if he was watching it, he would know who the people are. So
the other issue people a lot of people had. The other issue that a lot of people had, was host Vanessa Lachey
Mm-hmm.
obsessing over a Love is Blind baby.
yeah, she was like, I think she was hammered. Like, if I'm being honest, I think she was like hammered
Okay.
because they were allowed to drink and like
Yeah.
they had to wait like 2
I
hours
would-
themselves to even start it. So I think she was pretty drunk based on some of the stuff she was saying and some of like
Where's
the faces she was making.
Who's gonna have a baby? Like
Yeah.
that's the vibe I got
And I think what she
from
was
what I read.
what
I
she
didn't
was-
watch it. I didn't watch it. From
No,
what I read.
think what she was trying to do was the issue with the Love is Blind reunion for the past 4 seasons has been that like Vanessa and Nick Lachey suck as hosts.
Mm-hmm.
So they never ask like good questions. They're just like, oh, like, how are you guys? How's the married life? Like they never ask juicy questions. So I think the idea of making the show live was their attempt to like make the show more dramatic. And then she got really drunk and was probably trying to be like,
allegedly.
and was
I don't need to be sued on this
Okay.
podcast.
And was probably trying to be like, trying to ask those questions, but she was failing miserably at it.
Are they that
so.
bad? You said like they don't even host. They come out at the
Barely.
beginning and they say stuff.
They just say, welcome to Love is Blind, you're in the pods. And then they say, welcome to Mexico. And then they say, welcome to your flats that we bought for you. And then they say, it's a reunion. And ask terrible questions. And that's about it.
All right. Well, I feel more enlightened, but I am not more tempted to watch it. If that
Well,
feels any
you're
better.
going to watch when season 5 comes out, so.
Okay, well, I got to catch up. Oh, but I was with. So I took.
You
I
don't
went,
even have to,
So
like-
I was off this week. I'm off during the week, a couple days, and a couple of my friends, we went for a mall walk. One of them tore their ACL, so I had to push her, and the other one had a baby, so she was pushing the baby in the stroller. But we're walking around the mall, and they just would not shut up about Love is Blind. And my one friend with the baby said she never, ever, ever watched like these trashy TV shows.
Yeah.
She cannot get enough of this one. What is it about it?
I don't even know. It's just fascinating. I think it's because it's this idea that the people, they don't see each other and they're supposed to fall in love, as the show loves to say, sight unseen. And there's
They say it like that?
yeah.
Sight
And-
unseen.
Yeah, it's like a WWE thing.
Yeah.
And then it's inevitable that you're gonna see this person and maybe be like, ooh. I mean, I like their personality, but not enough.
4 seasons. How many are still together? Do you know that off the top of your head?
2 from the first season, none from the second season, 2 from the third season, and 3 from the fourth season.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, the 4th season just ended though, like Saturday.
Well, I think it just ended, but I think like they filmed it like maybe 9 or 10 months ago, so they've like been together all this time.
So the reunion they were still together at the reunion. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, impressive. Before we go, I'm about to get into this Twitter story. A couple different Twitter stories this week. Are you going to pay $8 a month?
No.
Why not? You don't want that blue
I wasn't
check mark?
verified
What
to begin
what a
with.
status symbol it is though now.
It's not anymore though. I think a lot of people think if you pay the $8, you're a loser.
And now Elon Musk is like buying people's memberships.
we
Like he
have that
bought
on the
LeBron
show
James
today,
All right.
Yeah.
Well, lots of Twitter, lots of Elon Musk this week. Annoying amount of Elon Musk.
I know. He just loves to be talked about, so he's just always doing the most so that his name gets
He
in the news.
exploded a rocket this week.
Yeah, that's right. He did.
that all happened this week. All right, Laura Sebin, producer, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for
Might
having
get you
me.
back here next week. We'll see.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that's Laura Sebin, and we continue our look around the week that was on Trending Now. And as mentioned, Twitter was a big story. Laura Sebin with the smoothest exit ever from the room. Well done, Laura. Well done. As we continue our look around the week that was, let me get serious here. Let's get serious. As we continue our look here around the week that was on Trending Now. Yeah, CBC and Twitter had a bit of a beef. Well, yeah, the words government-funded media were added to the account by Twitter. And according to Twitter's definition, government-funded media is defined as outlets where the government provides some or all of the outlet's funding and may have varying degrees of government involvement over editorial content. That is a very broad definition, and the CBC had a problem with that because they have 4 streams of funding, and yes, that includes government money, lots of it, but the public broadcaster also makes money from advertisements, subscriptions, and financing. However, the CBC says where this Twitter label went wrong is that the Canadian government is not involved in any editorial content or decision making. CBC Radio Canada, publicly funded through a parliamentary appropriation that is voted upon by all members of Parliament, and its editorial independence is protected in law in the Broadcasting Act. Meanwhile, journalism is independent and subject to this is CBC, by the way. Our journalism is independent and subject to our journalistic standards and practices, as well as an independent complaints process. And for conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, he's a big CBC hater, this was a win. He took to Twitter to said, breaking, CBC officially exposed as government-funded media. Now people know that Trudeau is propaganda, not news, he wrote on Twitter. Pierre Poilievre's been in office a long time. It's always been known that the CBC is heavily funded by the federal government. But some experts said the label that Twitter put on was fueling mistrust in the CBC. And the CBC, for their part, they said, fine, we just won't use Twitter. All of their accounts hit pause on Twitter this week, saying our journalism is impartial and independent. To suggest otherwise is untrue. That's why we are pausing our activities on Twitter. Meanwhile, back to Pierre Poilievre. Ajax Pickering, Liberal MP, Mark Holland, clapped back at Poilievre.
Mr. Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition gets up in a government-funded bed in a government-funded house. He enters a government-funded car where he's driven by a government-funded driver, where he goes to a government-funded office with government-funded staff.
Seriously?
And I wonder when he gets on his government-funded phone and talks to big tech giants from other countries about how they can destroy the CBC and other public broadcasting. I wonder when he talks to them about his Twitter account, what percentage of public funded, given that he's worked his entire life for the federal paycheck? What is it, 99.8%? Is it 99.9%, Mr. Speaker?
Now, all of this sort of went for naught because as of today, Friday, Twitter has removed labels describing global media organizations as government-funded or state-affiliated. And of course, that comes a day after the Elon Musk-owned platform started stripping blue verification checkmarks from accounts that don't pay a monthly fee. Many of Twitter's high-profile users on Thursday lost the blue checks that helped verify their identity and distinguish them from imposters. Now, anyone with a phone number and $8 a month can get that little blue check mark. Twitter had about 300,000 verified users under the original blue check system, many of them journalists, athletes, and public figures, and it was used to mean that the account was verified by Twitter to be who it says it is. High-profile users have lost their blue check marks, including Beyonce, Pope Francis, Oprah Winfrey, and former President Donald Trump, who still has not tweeted since his original ban back after the January 6th riots. Meanwhile, the cost of keeping the marks range from, like I said, $8 a month for individual web users to a starting price of $1,000 monthly to verify an organization, plus $50 monthly for each affiliate or employee account. Oh, Twitter. Meanwhile, also happening this week, Fox News will have to fork over nearly $800 million to a voting machine company for defaming them on air. The Dominion lawsuit claimed that some Fox hosts knew they were lying to their viewers, but did it anyway to fuel the theory that the 2020 presidential election was rigged in Joe Biden's favor. The settlement, however, means that Fox News won't have to stand trial. Fox is going to have to pay, though, $787 million. Settlement came on the same day the trial was set to begin in a Delaware courtroom. Dominion says Fox repeated false claims in its news reports that Dominion's voting machines flipped votes for Donald Trump and gave them to Joe Biden. During the 2020 presidential election, the lawsuit alleged Fox knew the claims were false, but still aired them to cater to their heavily Republican demographic. Now, Fox isn't out of the woods yet because the Dominion case is over. They're still facing a second major defamation lawsuit from Smartmatic. And the original dollar amount in the Dominion lawsuit was $1.6 billion. They settled for $787 million. The Smartmatic lawsuit is for $2.6 billion, and they say they're committed to clearing its name, recouping what it calls significant damage done to the company, and holding Fox accountable for undermining democracy. Now, as mentioned, Fox did not have to make an on-air apology, but that didn't stop The Daily Show's Jordan Klepper from coming up with one for them anyway.
And frankly, we deserve that. Bare minimum. Yes, you deserve that. And you know what? If the settlement won't give it to you, then I shall.
There's much fallout this evening, and there will be for months. We are admitting that we lied to you for saying the wrong things about the 2020 election. Now, why is that? Well, the truth is, Donald Trump lost the election. And no, we didn't tell you because we don't care what you think. Now we have to pay hundreds of millions of dollars. We were wrong. We are completely irresponsible, and we're sorry, America. I'm sorry for repeating something that was untrue. I'm sorry. I just got to take a quick break and go cry in a closet while squeezing a stuffed animal.
Thank you, Tucker. Well said.
And that is Fox apologizing, and I'm using air quotes that you can't see on podcast form. But that was from The Daily Show this week with guest host Jordan Klepper. Also happening this week, federal ministers provided an update on the Public Service Alliance of Canada's strike action. They're still on strike. Earlier in the day, that being on Wednesday, Justin Trudeau said negotiations had paused, called the union to come back to the table. The union said it was waiting for a better offer from government before resuming talks. Treasury Board President Mona Fortier confirmed that negotiations are ongoing. A Public Service Alliance of Canada includes some 155,000 federal public servants, including 35,000 Canada Revenue Agency workers. More on that in just a second. Now, PSAC's national president said that 97,000 workers are on strike at picket lines at some 250 plus locations, and it's one of the largest strike actions in Canadian history. What are they fighting for? Well, wage increases has been top of mind as the union's pushing for annual raises of 4.5% over the next 3 years. Meanwhile, the Treasury Board said it has offered the union a 9% raise over 3 years on the recommendation of the third-party Public Interest Commission. Now, the Canada Revenue Agency says it also offered its workers a 9% raise over 3 years. However, the agency said the union's bargaining unit countered with a proposal of 22.5% over the next 3 years, which includes a market adjustment of 2%. Now, the striking workers have been without a contract for around 2 years, meaning as inflation has climbed in the last 2 years, they have saw zero increases in their wages. And there's a lot of things involved here. One, the strike involves nearly 1/3 of all federal public servants, which includes the CRA, and could amount to a complete halt of the tax season. Although the CRA says it has no current plans to extend the tax deadline, May 1st, as a reminder, and that those that are filed digitally will be processed automatically by their systems without delay. Other concerns, slowdowns at the border, disruptions to employment insurance, immigration, and passport applications. Meanwhile, close to home, Six Nations of the Grand River says more than 1,100 students are affected, as groups involved in the strike include teachers at the 5 affected schools at Six Nations of the Grand River, funded and operated under Indigenous Services Canada. And they say all federally operated schools in First Nations community in Ontario will be closed during the labor disruption. And for more on some of the other big stories of the week, including what I would argue is the biggest story of the week. Thursday was 420. 420.
The biggest story of the year.
And Manisa Danabalan was covering it. Of course, she's the reporter for Trending Now, and she's with us now. Manisa Danabalan, how did you celebrate 420? You didn't. You looked like you were going to come up with a nice creative story, but then you backed up on it.
No, yeah, I celebrated 420 by just doing the story.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything else, unfortunately.
Listen, did you find that putting together this story, maybe if you were doing this story 2 years ago, it would have been weird or taboo almost? Here in Ontario, especially Canada, but Ontario, where there's a pot shop on every corner, it almost seems like 420 is not a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just a day.
I know, right? Especially because in Mississauga, it's just they just started allowing it. So it's one of those things where you're right. Wherever you go, it's there.
Yeah. On every corner of every street, there is it's oversaturated, the marketplace. There is too much.
And I live in Mississauga.
Oh, so you're excited about the announcement on Thursday. Wow. All right. But
420 was especially special for me this year.
I would find that there is still almost a taboo about it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Right? Because as much as some people, when I was talking to one of the sociology professors yesterday, he was also saying how people feel like the government legalizing it makes it okay. And they're supplying it. So they're kind of pushing too much almost. Right. So it is a taboo thing, but it's called International Counterculture Holiday, because of the whole taboo around it.
Yeah. Well, and that's where I grew up in Niagara, and I used to work in news in Niagara, and still do, I guess technically. I work here. we cover the Niagara
where do you
region.
think you are here now?
Sorry, I'm all the way over here in Hamilton, but still. But there's a Highway 420 in Niagara Falls. The 420, and on April 20th, everybody would go down there. This is when it was illegal, and would hang out and literally
on the highway.
Well, in between the roads on the highway. It's not a busy highway. It's not the 403 or 401. It's smaller.
Yeah,
it's only a small stretch of road.
Right by the border, right?
Yeah. You know where it is.
Yeah.
What am I explaining it to you then for? But I would say there is still people talk about their have a glass of wine don't really say like, oh, what'd you do last night? It's like, oh, I went home and had a couple of blunts and ate some gummies, and it was a great night. Like,
Just had some candy.
yeah, I just had some candy, but like, I don't know. There seems to be a little bit more of a stigma about it.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, the stigma, it's less now,
Yeah.
right? But it's still there because, like, I mean, looking at it, a lot of countries are allowing it now, but it's complicated, right?
Yeah.
Because it's decriminalized in some areas. They have medical marijuana in other areas, but Uruguay and Canada are the only ones who have actually, like, allowed it
Really?
on a federal level. Yeah.
Those are the only two countries.
The only two countries
What?
that are allowing it for, like, recreational use
Yeah.
on a federal level.
What does that say about Canada? Like, what does that
It's
say?
an amazing place to be.
It is. Thank you. That's what I was hoping to hear you say. What else jumped out at you this week? You had that Leaf game last night or
yes.
yesterday's story. Yeah, that would have
Day
been
before yesterday.
Yeah, it would have been Wednesday's story.
Yeah, before 4:20.
Yeah. How was that putting that together?
It was kind of looking at
Are you a big
everything-
Leafs fan?
No, I'm not. I mean, I don't watch sports in general, right?
Oh, that's
But,
kind
like,
of insulting.
No. Like,
You know what I do? You know what I do on weekends, right?
what do you do on weekends?
I'm the sports.
Oh, I wouldn't even know because I don't watch sports, right? I'm joking.
Wow. Mini stand ball in, everyone. Thanks so much. It's been a great show.
No, it was brutal hearing it's like reading all the things that people were saying because they're
People
like
are hateful.
Yeah,
People are hateful.
Everyone was mad, right?
I was one of those. Like, I can pull up messages to my friend like that I would have sent during the game. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I always say, like, I don't take it that seriously. Like, I don't really care that much. Like, whatever. It's just a game. They suck anyway. All those things that I've come to say. But then as I go back to my text messages with my Leafs buddies, like, yesterday, decent start. That's my captain. Let's go. Let's go. But I go 2 days earlier and it's, yo, what the F? I am so pissed. Same, dude. Like, I do get mad. And I think, like, that's something that's wrong sometimes with society, is that they get mad and then they go to social media and then they say really mean things, or they take to Twitter. Because that's the one thing I always think about, like, these players. Like, I think about, like, a Mitch Marner if he has a bad game. Like, Mitch Marner is 25. Like, he's younger than I am. Like, if somebody came after me on Twitter. All right, wow, okay, thank you. But if somebody came after you on Twitter, like, it doesn't matter that you make $1 million doing your job. It doesn't matter that, like, you're a paid professional. Like, oh, you get paid to play hockey. There's still a person. And, like, that's the one thing that bothers me, is that, like, when people take to social media, and, like, we've talked a lot social media. The show is called Trending Now, by the way. We talk a lot about social media on this show, but people are just mean these days.
It's literally from players to celebrities. It's almost like when people are talking about celebrities, they almost act like they assume that they don't have feelings and they don't read these things. Like, we all see the comments, they read the comments. Like, it's hard sometimes. Like, and maybe that's why you see so many people come out and say, like, you know, like, it's hard for me and I can't do this or something like that, you know?
Yeah, and which I also appreciate now, that I think people say that more frequently, and people are, like, I hope people are more responsive about, like, more, like, they take it to heart, that, like, hey, man, like, that sucked. Like, don't talk to me like that.
Right? Like, don't you feel like years
ago
it was...
these days. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Like, don't you feel like years ago it was kind of harder to kind of say, hey, like, what you're doing kind
You
of...
suck. You suck. Like, on Twitter, like, just tweeting, like,
yeah,
hey,
like...
you suck. But, like, on Twitter, like, they're not going to read it, so what difference does it make? It's like, well, if they're not going to read it, why are you bothering writing it? Just save yourself some time. Just put that energy out for something positive. Go smoke a blunt.
But, like, with, like,
go
a lot
smoke some weed and go relax. That's my advice to people who are going to talk shit on the internet. That's my advice.
Especially with, like, Leafs fans. So I've definitely, like, kind of seen that on social media. Like, they're very expressive about how they're feeling, and they get let down.
Yeah.
And when they're let down, like, it's
and then there's days like today where I come in wearing my jersey all happy and proud. By the way, you were a witness to the first ever swear on the Trending Now podcast.
Did that happen today?
I just said shit
right now.
Yeah. Were you not listening? Do you not listen to me?
I thought you said it earlier when I was in the newsroom.
I stopped and said shh. But I did. I got permission to swear, so.
Did you actually?
No big deal. No big deal. No big deal. It's my podcast. I can do what I want. Didn't want to say that one. That's the big one. I'm not going to say that one unless it's like absolutely necessary to say. Like if I'm really fired up, maybe I'll drop that word.
One
but
day.
I won't.
Oh, well, all we have to do is just talk about the whole interview.
The Leafs? The Leafs? Yeah. We can let's talk about the Leafs on Monday and we'll see how I feel.
I was actually going to bring up the interview between Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
But...
I really don't like that. I really like two people I don't like very much at all. Talking together in a room. I have no interest in watching that. But then people are like, well, how do you know you don't want to hear them? Like, you're not listening to their opinions. I was like, because their opinions are stupid.
Yeah, I heard their opinions.
Especially Tucker Carlson.
Yikes.
And I've thought of this, and it's funny because I was out doing something where people were speaking, and I was at a city council meeting, and it's like I could be a city councilor, and I'm like, would I use my powers for evil or good? Like, because Tucker Carlson, like all he is someone who can talk into a microphone and talk like this. And ask questions and go like that. And it's just like anybody can do that. Like anybody can trick their audience.
That's true.
Because I don't believe Tucker Carlson believes 90% of what he says.
I agree.
He's playing a character on TV and he cashes the checks. But again, you have to have no soul to be able to do that. To go on TV and to lie and to say ridiculous things. And I'm sure I lost 2 of our 12 followers on the show with that. So who knows? That's just my opinion. Anyway, Manisa Danabalin. I guess I'm paid to have an opinion on this show. I don't know whether I'm not or it's my show, so I'll figure it out. Manisa Danabalin, appreciate it as always.
My cheeks actually hurts.
Appreciate this as always. Thanks for coming on the show. You got to finish up your story, so thanks for doing this.
Thank you, Louie.
Manisa Danabalin, everyone. All right, and before we go, we have to check in with everybody's favorite fill-in host, because Nicole Martin. Listen, I have to set it up like that. Everybody's host, favorite host, Nicole Martin is away.
Shout out Nicole Martin.
Shout out Nicole Martin. Can't wait till you're back. Not for any reason in particular. I'm really digging myself a hole
Louie?
today.
Just say what you want to say.
Kelly Patello's here with us, the host of Trending Now. See, you try to build it up like it's this great big introduction. You want to say something nice, and then you have to worry about all these little caveats. Kelly, happy Friday. We made it.
Yay.
A little. Last week we were talking about it being a little bit stressful.
Yeah, this week was better.
A little bit better. It's nice to have Seb's back.
Yeah, we are staffed again, so that's nice.
Laura and I were talking earlier about Love is Blind.
Oh, Love is Blind.
Where are you in the Love is Blind?
Well, I'm done, obviously.
You're done with the show, or you're caught up, or are you in it? No, I mean, like, are you in? Are you like really into it?
I mean, I fast forward most of it because I just want to get to the good parts. And to me, like, the secondhand embarrassment I get from it is too much, right? Like, it's so cringy and embarrassing, but I have to watch it. It's like a train wreck.
Have you are you like into those shows though? Because like
I do.
Our friend Adam Atkinson has been dying to come on this show to talk about Love is Blind. I have not extended the invitation yet. He watches all those shows.
Yeah.
And it's like him and Emily Taylor, our morning live reporter, like they'll come in the next day and be like, oh, or like, have you started it? It's like, oh, I'm done. I'm done. Like they catch up. Is that how you watch reality TV?
Yeah, I usually binge it. I don't have any kind of self-control in that sense, but once I get started on something, I have to finish watching it.
Did you try to watch the live reunion? That was the big story.
I tried to, and I fell asleep twice.
Waiting for the screen? Like, were you going back and forth?
No, I watched it afterwards. I gave up on that, but yeah, it was quite boring, let's be honest. But
and something that wasn't quite boring, and it's a story that's been going on for years, and that being the Alec Baldwin case that was brought in New Mexico. Tragically, there was that tragic accident on set of the movie Rust, which he shot at assistant director or anyway, gun malfunction. Late last night, New Mexico prosecutors saying we don't have enough to press charges. This story really interesting. You talked to Ari Goldkind today about it.
Yes.
What did he make of it?
So Ari Goldkind is a criminal defense lawyer, and he did not mince words about this. He said, well, Alec Baldwin should have never been charged in the first place because while I think he was like assistant or had some sort of directing mini role in it. There are people on set who are paid to be there to make sure that the props and the firearms are safe and that there's no live rounds in the guns that the actors are handed. So he says that Ari should have never been charged with this and that it was out of line, and the prosecutors are good to walk back on this. And he thinks that the armorer on set is not getting out of her charges and could face jail time for this.
Yeah. Were you verified on Twitter?
No, I tried to get verified on
Really?
Twitter. They said no.
I never got verified either. So for a while it was like, oh my God, I'm not verified.
Yeah.
At a certain point, like even before all this Elon Musk stuff, I was like, I really don't care. I really don't care. So you were never verified.
Like I said, I tried, and they're like, absolutely not.
You have to submit like a body of work, like not a body of work, but you have to like prove. But like it was so arbitrary to begin with.
Yeah.
You'd find these people who have like no followers who'd be verified.
Yeah.
And like, well, like what do I gotta do?
Like other reporters at CH are verified. So
used to be as of Thursday.
Verified, yeah. So I was like, okay, well, not for me, but
so you're not going to pay $8 a month to get that little blue check mark?
Never in my life would I pay $8 a month to be verified.
Twitter's been a big story this week. We mentioned it earlier in the show with the Pira Polyev stuff about the verification being pulled away, about Elon Musk being Elon Musk. Have you found yourself? And I think we're in an interesting position because, like, we need to be on Twitter sometimes just to follow what's happening. But have you found your Twitter habits change at all since Elon Musk has taken over?
I wouldn't say I don't think it's, for me at least, has anything to do with Elon Musk. I think over the last few years, I've just kind of gotten sick of Twitter in general. Like you said, sometimes we have to use it for work, and occasionally I do. But I really don't tweet that much anymore because sometimes it's just such a toxic atmosphere. I would agree, and I go further than that and say like social media in general. I don't know if this is just okay, I'm 30 now, 31. But the way I use social media, I even find myself being like, what's the point? And have wanted to delete it and have gone through started the steps of being like, okay, this is when I'm finally going to delete my Facebook. Yeah. But I want to save all these pictures first. So then I'll start going through the process of going back to like 2010, whenever I got it, trying to save the pictures. But how are you when it comes to social media? Well, I think that's a thing, like, especially with people, around our age, where we're kind of just sick of social media. I also find like I'm struggling with the boundaries of social media, like sometimes I'm like, no, I don't want to share that, or you know what, who cares about this, or so it's weird, but I've had those same feelings, Lou.
And I've done this before where I found myself on Instagram with 600 700 followers following, and then did a purge and be like, I really haven't talked to you in 10 years. We don't talk. If we bumped into each other, it'd be like, hey, how's it going? But then that happened once, and it happened to someone, and then I ran into them who called me out for it, which was cringe on both levels. A, to care about it enough, and B, to call me out on it. I thought just ugh.
You're better off without that person anyways.
But then again, like you said, there's some things I'd like to share with my group of friends and my close friends, and there's a lot of group chats that go on through Instagram and stuff. So it's hard to fully quit it. But if anyone has any advice on how to fully quit social media, let us know. Big plans for the weekend?
No, relaxing.
Nice. Well, enjoy it. It won't be as nice as last weekend.
Yeah, that's all right.
It might be some rain tomorrow. It's a weekend anyway. I love the attitude. Callie Patello, thanks so much for doing this. Appreciate it as always. My thanks to Callie Patello. My thanks to Manisa Dana Ballin and Laura Sebin as well. And my thanks to you for listening, because we could not do the show without you. Make sure you like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts to the Trending Now podcast. From all of us here at CHCH, I'm Louis Butko. Hoping you have a great weekend. That's where the theme music would come in.